Evening, everyone, and welcome to, let me see, how you like to do that? Welcome to the January 18th, 2021 Cumberland County Board of Commissioners meeting. And so we would welcome everybody that is here. Thank you all for coming. Our meeting is usually on Monday night. It's Tuesday night tonight because we celebrated Dr. Martin Luther King Day. And I would just ask everybody to always remember his words and make it so that we do it and not just read it and talk about it once a year. That is something that is ingrained in us, and we do it throughout the year. And so I will wait for Mr. Keith, and we will call on Commissioner Jeanette Council for the invocation and the pledge.
Stand for a minute. Heavenly Father, we are here tonight to conduct the business of all of the citizens in our county. We ask that you always remind us that we are a team. Together we can make a difference that will last for a lifetime. Amen.
Amen.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Our agenda calls for us to do a recognition. We will do that after the public comment period. If everybody's aware of how Cumberland County is, sometimes you get stuck behind a train or you're stuck with traffic. So we will come back to that. So I will call on the county manager, Amy Cannon, to read the public comment policy.
Yes, sir. Good evening, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. The public comment period is an opportunity for our citizens to share their concerns or provide suggestions to the Board of Commissioners. The public comment period shall last no longer than a total of 15 minutes, and each speaker will have a maximum of 3 minutes to make their remarks. No time may be yielded to another speaker. We ask that speakers address the board from the lectern and begin their remarks by stating their name and address. Thank you.
Thank you, County Manager. This is an important part of our meeting. Call on the county the clerk. Do we have any speakers?
Good evening. We do have speakers this evening. 3 speakers signed up. Our first speaker is Mr. Kenneth Slankard.
All right, Mr. Slankard. Mr. Slankard. All right, Madam Clerk.
Our second speaker signed up is Miss Kathy Greggs.
Welcome, Ms. Griggs.
How's everybody doing?
Doing good.
I'm
Good evening.
Kathy Greggs. My address is 4607 Woodline Drive, Fayetteville, North Carolina, 28394. So I'm here tonight because, we're here in Stillwater still waiting for a citizen review board for our sheriff department that Fayetteville PAC has been asking for several years. And recently with Jason Walker's death, we're asking for the same thing again. And we're also asking for a binding resolution from the county and the sheriff department when it comes to off-duty shootings from police officers. But, we just got to do something. And we are asking you to do something. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our third and last speaker this evening is Mr. Chalico Hurst.
Mr. Hurst, welcome.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the commission.
Good evening.
I come before you.
You state your name and address, please.
My name is Charles Chalico Hurst, 230 McHarriet Drive, Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I come before you a saddened but angry minority in the community of Fayetteville, North Carolina. It's sad that we have the same incidents popping up in our law enforcement that whether it be that happened to Dr. King, Ms. Parks, or Brother Malcolm, my culture for humanity is under attack. The most recent one was by a county employee who murdered an unarmed citizen. Let me say it again. The individual, Mr. Walker, was unarmed. Mr. Walker didn't deserve to die like that, as if he had no value. The family deserves to have the unedited 911 call from beginning to end. The family deserves the full autopsy. The family deserves the seizure of all guns by the employee in question, the impoundment of his truck, the seizure of all phones inside the vehicle. And also, if you watch the video, what's very telling to the human eye is the silent code given to the 911 dispatch when the employee in question says, "I am an employee, I'm a lieutenant of the sheriff department." That's a silent whistle to the 911 dispatch caller that when law enforcement shows up, they don't show up, so they don't show up with guns blazing, immediately asking for everyone present to lay down or come into the situation very hostilely. Because when it's an employee that is involved, they show up different than it would be a regular citizen. So these things that I ask not only on behalf of the Walker, but all minorities that reside in Cumberland County, that we have a transparent investigation and the seizure of all the things that I've outlined. Thank you for your time and your patience.
Thank you so very much. Madam Clerk, are there any other speakers?
There are no further speakers.
Well, thank you so very much. That will take us to the approval of the agenda. Call on the county manager, are there any changes?
No, sir.
I'll call on the fellow commissioners, are there any changes? If not, I'll ask for approval of the agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and second. All those in favor?
Unanimous.
All right, that takes us to the consent agenda. Is there anything to be pulled off the consent agenda? If not, I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and second. All of those in favor?
Unanimous.
Let's see where that takes us to. That takes us down to our public hearing, if I'm not mistaken, which is our zoning cases, our contested zoning cases.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
You stated we had two contested zoning cases this evening. I'll try to pull up the first one, case.
If you do me a favor, just, because we don't, everybody doesn't know you like we know you, so if you just kind of introduce.
Yes.
And what department you with and what your function is, so.
Absolutely.
The citizens will know who's talking.
Sure thing. My name's
Uh-huh.
Ross Howard. I'm the Director of Planning and Inspections, and it's a pleasure to be with you this evening.
Thank you, Ron.
Yeah. So the first case we have is case ZON 21-0021. Start the presentation. You can see where this property is located. It's up in the Spring Lake area. As I don't know if I get this thing going, hold on. Oh, it's on?
It's on.
All right, good. All right, so it's in the Spring Lake area. As you can see evidence, Commissioners, by the little red star that's up there in the northwestern part of the county. The applicant owner is Mr. Stuart Lewis. The agent is Jeffrey Eugene. The request is to go from C1P Planned Local Business District to C2P Planned Service and Retail District. So for those of you who don't know, our CP districts pretty much start from a C1P and then go up in a level of intensity as you go up. C1P is really more geared towards things like very limited neighborhood type services. Then C2P is a step up to more like regional type of businesses, and then CP is our most intense. You're going to find things like shopping centers and big box stores and things of that nature. So the request is to go from C1 to C2. So you can see the site itself is sitting on Manchester Road, pretty much at the intersection of Lillington Highway and Manchester Road. Is highlighted here in the red. You're probably wondering what's up with those little round circles. This used to be a utility, a water utility. Those are the well protection areas that were used for the 2 wells that were on the site that were eventually abandoned and sold. So those 2 little round areas are for the wells that are there that are no longer functioning. But you can see the property is outlined in red. You can see the areas around it is primarily residential. It does back up to the southwest by a single-family subdivision and the fire department. If you guys are familiar with the new fire department that just got constructed out there, it sits right next to this piece of property. There's a business that does sit right here, you can see on the corner, but the request itself is for the entire piece of land you can see crosshatched here. Pretty much on the western side of Lillington Highway, it's predominantly going to be residential uses and churches, and you have a scattering of small types of retail across the street. You can see the zoning is predominantly in this area. C1P, as I said before, C1P is our least intense zoning district as far as commercial. It's meant, and the C1P district is actually drawn up, if you read the language of the intent of the district, is to back up to single-family neighborhoods and to provide services for those single-family neighborhoods. So you can see it's predominantly R10 and C1P on this side of the street. And you also have small components of it on the eastern side of Lillington Highway as well. So there is water and sewer generally in the area. It has water lines that actually touch the site. You have some sewer that's in the general area that could be extended if you wanted to develop the property in the future. When staff looked at the plan, we were kind of on the fence about this. So it does call for light commercial out there. So the map category actually does support C1P and C2P. When staff looked at the policies within the plan, the thing that was conflicting for us is that some of the uses in a straight C2P zoning could be things like motor vehicle sales, it could be dog kennels with open runs in the back, other types of intensive uses that we felt that when it backed up to these types of residential neighborhoods might be of some concern or some impact. So that weighed really heavily on staff's recommendation that we took to the planning board, which was a denial for C2P. So, and you'll see in the motion, if you decide to go with the planning board's recommendation, it does state in there that that it is plan consistent, but the policies actually support the decision if you were to go with the planning board's recommendation. And speaking of planning board, I'm sorry, we have Mr. Stan Crumpler, who is our planning board chairman, sitting right back here. Mr. Crumpler, please raise your hand. I'm sorry, Stan, I didn't even recognize you. There you go. So this is the subject property itself. You can see the general use is a small commercial operation on the very corner with a fence that is there. This is just another angle looking on the other side of the street. The area that sits just behind that store, which is the wide swath of property that sits at the back, is primarily vacant right now. As you're looking north onto Lillington Highway, you can see actually the planning department's vehicle is sitting here, but you can see that it encompasses all the land that sits here just across the street. This is standing on the site, looking on across the street at the restaurant that sits over there off of Lillington Highway. And this is looking south off of Lillington. You can see the newly constructed fire department that's immediately on the right. So again, staff had recommended a denial of the request. When we took this to the planning board, they had also supported a denial request by 4-2 vote. So if you have any questions, I'll try to answer what I can.
All right. I think Mr. Keefe has a question.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Howard. Mr. Chair, thank you. C2P, it's currently C1P. As the owner indicated, I know that if we were to approve C2P, he could put whatever he wanted on it, but has he indicated why he's looking for a change?
Yes, so like initially, it's my understanding that this was driven by a code enforcement action. So we had noticed that there were our code enforcement officers had noticed that there was some work that was being constructed out on the site. The fence had gone up and there were various other things that had gone up, so we had to kind of put a timeout on that. And when we started to investigate, we had talked about the applicant wanting to do a small engine repair or something along the lines which would require the rezoning from the C1 to the C2.
So a small engine repair could find itself into even a junkyard at this time at C2P?
No.
No, okay.
Yeah, like you could have a contractor's yard which would allow open storage and things like that.
Okay,
Yeah.
same type thing. Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Anyone else have any other questions? If not, I'll open the public hearing. And Madam Clerk, do we have any speakers?
We have one speaker this evening in favor. Our first speaker is Mr. Jeffrey Eugene.
Mr. Eugene.
How you guys doing today?
Doing
Good.
fine.
It's my first time doing one of these, but
You state your name and
Oh.
address.
I'm Jeffrey Eugene. Address is 2109 Beach Street, Fayetteville. Can you go back to the last photo?
Sure.
No, the business.
The business?
Yeah.
This one here? Or you want this one here?
That one.
All right.
The section on the right where the blinds are, it was a farm, a food selling place to be selling farm.
Wait a minute, where are you saying? I'm sorry. Yeah.
This building right here.
Uh-huh.
The guy that owned it, the guy that was renting it out, sold produce there. So, and we stayed right up the street from the property, but we had to move. So I talked to Mr. Stewart, and he said that we can use the property. But, so we put the fence up, not knowing that we had to do permits and zoning and things like that. So once that happened, we came down here and we found out that we had to come to do C1P to C2P. But we stayed right up the street from this in Harnett County.
Excuse me
So-
one second, and I'll stop that. There are people sitting behind you. I would ask you to please sit down so that they can see. Thank you so very much. Thank you. All right, go ahead, sir. I'm sorry.
What was the question that you asked, sir?
Which one? Why you were looking for the change?
Oh yeah, I was looking for the change because it's originally zoned for produce, I guess C1P, and to do small engine repair.
What is that noise?
I don't know.
I
That's
can't.
just them, but I think they are marching. So, go ahead.
Is it coming from somebody in here?
Outside.
It's outside.
They're outside. They're outside.
Okay, thank you, sir.
But, yeah.
I'm sorry, can you say, you were looking, I asked why the change from C2 to...
The produce stand was capable for C1P, but I guess to do C2P, to do small engine repair, it has to be changed to C2P.
Okay.
So that's the reasoning from changing it from
Okay,
C1P to C2P.
okay.
Yes, sir.
Does
Okay.
anyone else, you got 2 more minutes.
I mean, I don't know what else to say, but yeah.
Okay.
But we've been in the community for 15 years. We were just right up the street, but we had to move because things weren't going right over there. And Mr. Stewart generously let us have this. But Harnett County and Cumberland County, they have 2 different types of rules and regulations, and I didn't know that personally. So when we jumped into it, that's when we found out.
Sure.
Yes.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
So those buildings were already there?
The one on the right?
Uh-huh.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The one in the middle was my shop building. I moved down there. But the building that was on the right was already previously there.
And you put the fence up, the block, the back side of it?
No, it's just for safety purposes. I don't want nobody jumping, stealing people's, seeing I have lawnmowers back there and taking them and stuff. That's all.
Okay. Anyone else have any other questions based upon that? Mr. Booth?
Does the fence
Booth.
go all the way around the property from the other side too?
It connects. Yes, sir.
Okay. So you unless you go climb over the fence, you wouldn't even see what was going on back there.
No, sir.
I got some questions.
Commissioner Keefe?
Sure. Is the fence in accordance with, it's not in violation right now, is it, Mr. Howard?
Not to my knowledge, no, sir. But I know
Okay.
that
And what options do we have? It seems to me that there's a fear of what could be in C2P.
Sure.
But can we do C2P with conditions?
No, sir, because we didn't apply for that. We did offer that as an option, but it wasn't taken. So it's a conventional rezoning. We can't put conditions on it.
It's a conditional now.
No, it's a conventional.
Conventional.
Yeah, which is straight rezoning. Sorry, my mask is.
I
probably
know.
confusing.
Okay. So you're not willing to accept C2 with conditions of only what you're looking at right now as far as a business model?
I'm willing to accept that.
Yes.
I'm willing to accept that.
He said he's willing to accept it.
Okay.
I'm willing to accept it.
Now, so Rawls, what would be, it seems like there's a little bit of a disconnect there because he didn't apply, or did you not know that you could do that?
I didn't know that.
Okay.
The guy that I was dealing with, Mr. Calloway, he resigned, and I guess the gentleman here took over everything else. So I'm not quite sure.
Okay. I apologize, but I'm having difficulty hearing everything between the mask and what's going on outside.
I guess I would ask this question because it was asked by one of the commissioners. Is Roz, in terms of being able, he said he's willing to accept that. Can it go back and come back? Is that to be able to, it seems to be that this board wants to be able to help him to the best that we can. And so what would you recommend in terms of it going back and coming back next month?
I mean, that would be, if you want to take it back to the planning board, you can. I think at this level, you could also request that it come as a conditional zoning, back to this board if you want. It just depends on if you wanted to go back to the planning board or not.
The only thing is, I would like for him to understand what that means.
Certainly.
You know, we standing up here today saying you're willing to take that. He's willing to take it because he doesn't want to get it denied, which makes sense to me. But I want him to be able to understand exactly what that means. And then bring it back. Not that we're going to deny you, but I want you to be able to know and make a informed decision as to whether you want to do that or not do that. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Does that make sense, everyone?
Yeah.
Mr. Commissioner Evans. Oh.
You know what?
Okay.
My thought pattern is probably not like everybody else's, which is normally not. But but while we have the gentleman here and he's trying to go ahead and do his business, I think that we should take the time to explain to him exactly what's the difference between what you're trying to give him now and to what he was initially in here for.
Sure.
And that way everyone can understand and they have clear understanding before he leaves here.
Sure.
So if we can resolve this tonight for him so that he can go on with business, let's do that.
Sure.
Commissioner Keith.
Yeah, I'm in respect to Commissioner Evans here, I would vote no tonight. I'm going to tell you, as it is right now, without a conditional use. But I think it's important, as the chairman said, that everybody understands, you know, even from the planning board side, possibly, that this is good. The fear is, and I hope you understand, that once we approve C2, you can put anything that goes in there. You could decide to shut down your business and whatever else can go there, but we don't want that to happen to the surrounding area also, because we have to respect our neighbors as they go, okay? So I think I'm going to defer to the chairman on this one.
Commissioner Booth.
Thank you, sir. I agree with Mr. Keith, and I know that if Charles is guilty of anything, he's guilty of having a big heart. But what I'm concerned about is that this isn't the spot for us to start resolving stuff. If people are going to expect us to come up here, tell us the problem in 3 minutes, and then wait around to have it solved, then I don't think that's the purpose of this portion of it. I think he's picking up on a vibe that we want to help him. I'm real familiar with the area. You know, that fence will be, you know, a lot more than what's out there already in that very same area for trying to cut back on noise and, you know, broken motors sitting around and everything. I really appreciate that, having done that. So I agree with our chairman. I agree with our ex-chairman that we're trying to help you, but I don't think we ought to sit down here and start assigning staff to you because we've got another hearing after this one. So I think you got to take a deep breath. If we rule on it, you can't come back for it in a year. If we just defer it to whenever it fits next on his schedule, I think we can have it back in a month.
Well, I mean, okay, so as a part of the process, there would be a site plan required for any conditional zoning, and we also would have to get with he's the agent, so we would need the owner of the property to also have to sign off on it as well, too. Like, the owner signed off on this, but there's some procedural things that we would have to do.
Another reason why we need to make sure that the owner has access. The agent accepting it, the owner may come back and go, what were you thinking? I sent you up there for one thing, and you come back with another. So I think we should defer it, let everybody get together at your office, at the site, whatever, and everybody explain what can and can't be done with a list of the allowed activities.
Sure.
So I would move that we defer zoning 21-0021, not rule on it tonight, and defer it to a later meeting after after the owner and the agent meet with planning department.
Is there a second?
A second.
Second.
Okay. It's been moved in second. All of those in favor?
Voting in favor, Commissioners Lancaster, Council Stewart, Chairman Adams. Voting in favor also, Commissioners Booth and Keefe. Voting in opposition, Commissioner Evans.
All right. Thank you. That will take us to our next zoning case, which is 210025.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you can see, this is in the east central portion of the county, just south of Eastover. The applicant and owner is Eugene and Vernarine Young. The request is to go from A1, which is our agricultural district, to C2P, much like the same district we had in the previous request for our planned service and retail. The intent, as it was expressed to staff, was to conduct a motor vehicle washing services, car wash, for plus or minus 1 acre of land. As you can see, the area is highlighted in red in the crosshatch here. If you look at what's surrounding the area, it's primarily agricultural and residential. So we have some manufactured homes on, Bastille Lane. I don't know why my mouse is doing that, sorry. Let me open up. Sorry. Primarily ag and a residential area, but you can see this is Santa Rosa Road, for those of you that are familiar with the area that sits off of Huckleberry, the nearest intersection that is here. So the zoning primarily out here is pretty much agricultural and residential. We have R40A and A1. You have some RR that's up in the north. So when we looked at the utilities that are available out there, there's basically a water line that sits out there. Some of the concerns that staff had was with the storm sewer requirements of a car wash, what kind of stuff that you use to wash cars, where that kind of effluent would be going in the ground with that, absent a sewer line. But there's no sewer out there right now, but there is water. When we looked at the plan, the Eastover plan pretty much calls for this entire area to be residential. So for a small lot like this, staff did have a little bit of concern over putting a small commercial operation in the middle of a primarily agricultural and residential area. So we felt that it was not plan compliant. You can see the associated zoning districts that the plan calls for this particular area, and C2P is not one of them. This is the subject property, as you can see. This is standing on Santa Rosa Road, but you can see the property to the left. You can see, of course, the zoning sign that we put out there in accordance with state law for advertising and posting. This is standing on the site looking across the street. It's like a log pole barn. This is the south view of Santa Rosa Road, again with the sign you can see right there with the property immediately on the right-hand side. So being the plan what it was and the area that it's in and the character of the area, staff had recommended denial of the request. When we took this to the planning board, they had unanimously recommended denial by a 6-0 vote. So if you have any questions, I'll try to answer what I can.
Anyone have any questions of Raw? Commissioner Booth?
Thank you, sir. Could you go back to the one that, nope, that has the R and A?
You mean the zoning map?
Yes. Right there, okay. The one that is like directly below, right there, yeah. Are those residences, barns?
Those are manufactured homes.
Manufactured homes? What about to the left of it?
Down this area here?
Yes, all across the bottom there.
It's pretty much residential areas. You can see, yeah, it's all single-family homes. Manufactured homes, that is.
And what's that road, or is that a cul-de-sac, or is that just a dirt road?
That's just it's just a road, Bastille Lane. It's a small country road.
Okay. Do you happen to know, and this is just a question, if the same owners on the top half of that dirt road are the same ones that own across it, or are there 6 different owners? So you're talking about where you have it hash marked, and then it looks like there's a road, and then there's 3 more lots below it of about the same size.
So the 2 parcels across the street we've identified are owned by the same the same person. Are you saying across Santa Rosa or? Santa Rosa, yes. Yeah, so across Santa Rosa, the same owner owns this property, but to the south, they are all different owners.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
All right. Anyone else have any questions? If not, I will open the public hearing. Madam Clerk, are there any speakers?
We have one speaker in favor this evening, Ms. Vernerine Young.
Ms. Young,
Good evening.
good evening.
My name is Vernerine Elliott Young, and I live at 3659 Santa Rosa Road. I'm here tonight with my husband, Eugene Young. Now, we've been in the Fayetteville area all of our lives. We had a car wash at 3619 Ramsey Street, but due to this 5-star car wash down the street, the guys decided to sell because they weren't making enough money. Now, we own property out in Eastover, so it was best for us to try to get it rezoned so that we could put a car wash out there. We are not using harsh chemicals or anything. We're not using the laser part. It's basically hand wash and with the detail. Now, we've been in business now for 18 years, and we have some guys at the Mercedes-Benz of Fayetteville, North Carolina. We have 5 there, and still we have some others that are out of work at this time. So we felt it necessary to bring it out in the country because there's no car wash out in the country where we live. So we have property out there, and we decided to try to get the zoning changed. And in August of this year, I've written each and every one of you to let you know our concerns concerning the Randall Street Detail Shop. Now, Randall Street Detail Shop, we have many in the area, Wade, Stedman, Godwin, different ones that come along to, that we've supported for many years. And we have 2 grandsons and 7 great-grandkids, and we would like to leave something for them. And a lot of people might think washing cars is nothing, but hey, it gets them out of the streets. And now we have the water lines out there, but they're saying there is no sewer, which there isn't at this present time. But I've already been, they've already told me at the zoning that I could put a home there with 3 bedrooms. So if I could put a home there with 3 bedrooms, why can't I put a car wash there? So I say to each and every one of you tonight to give this careful consideration. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Are there any other speakers?
There are no further speakers.
With there no other speakers, we'll close the public hearing. Any questions from any of the commissioners? If not, I'll entertain a motion. Commissioner Keefe.
Mr. Chair, thank you. And I seriously appreciate the entrepreneurship that you're looking at and helping out the family, but there's a consideration of this being a very, very residential area, and my fear is that it's not really fair to the neighbors. So at this time, in the case of zoning 21-0025, I move to deny the rezoning request from A1 Agricultural to C2P Commercial Plan Service and Retail District, and find the request is not consistent with the Eastover Land Use Plan, which calls for rural density residential at this location. Recommending denial is reasonable and in the public interest because the C2P Plan Service and Retail District would allow commercial uses in an intensity that would not be compatible or in harmony with the rural character of the area surrounding land use activities and zoning.
Is there a second?
I will.
It's been second. It's been moved and second. We got a question from Commissioner Booth.
Yeah. What is different, just like what she raised up the question, of her just, is it because she's paying someone that's doing something for wages on the property? Is that the distinction? Because we've all gone to support bands and cheerleading squads and bake sales, combination, you know, they let them use an old gas station hose, and everybody that's going to go on a band trip needs to wash about 10 cars and everything. I don't think they get any extra daily permits that I'm aware of. At least my kids didn't going through high school. I got my car washed by a lot of folks who didn't really know what they were doing, and I know they do. I've been there to the Ramsey Street site. What would stop them from just running a hose out there and everybody just washing cars?
It's a business.
That's what I'm saying. Is it because it requires a business license?
It's not a business license. It would require the zoning to allow the commercial activity if it's going to be an ongoing operation out there.
Okay, thank you.
All right. You've heard the motion. All those in favor?
Voting in favor, Commissioners Council Stewart, Chairman Adams, Commissioner Keith. Voting in opposition,
Wait a minute, hold on. Voting in favor of the motion to deny.
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry.
if you're in favor, would you raise your hands again, please? Thank you. Commissioners Council Stewart, Chairman Adams, Commissioner Keith. Voting in opposition, Commissioners Lancaster, Evans, and Booth. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that takes us, thank you, Mr. Ross. I think that ends our
Thank you.
public hearings and our contested rezoning cases. We will go back on the agenda to our recognition, and I will call on our Vice Chairwoman, Stewart, to conduct the recognition.
Thank you, Chairman Adams. At this time, I would like to call Ms. Janae Zinzo forward. At this time, I would like to take a moment to celebrate the 2022 Miss Black North Carolina winner, Miss Janae Zinzo. She stands before us as the crown winner and youngest woman to win this title. The youngest of 3 children, to a father who is a disabled U.S. Army veteran and a mother who is a certified medical assistant, Janae was inspired at a young age to embark on a career of selfless service working on the front lines of the medical field. It is important to note that Janae's special recognition and awards do not start with her being crowned Miss Black North Carolina 2022. Instead, during her pre-collegiate years, Janae competed in her first pageant at the age of 13, and in 2017, she won the title of Miss Spokesmodel. She has worked as a teacher's assistant, was named the winner of the Health Academy District competition, received a silver level award for the ACT National Career Readiness Certificate, and a silver presidential academic award recognizing her academic success in the classroom. Janae even showcased her leadership skills as the captain of the junior varsity and varsity cheerleading team at Westover High School, located here in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Now, in her 3rd year at Fayetteville State University studying nursing with a concentration of midwifery, she plans to continue her education by pursuing her master's degree. The Miss Black North Carolina USA system was founded to provide personal and professional opportunities for African American women and to promote their voices in culture, politics, and the community. Academics are a prominent focal point within this organization. They are one of the nation's leading achievement programs, as well as one of the largest providers of scholarship assistance for African American women. To be crowned Miss Black North Carolina and become an official delegate is an enormous achievement. This means you not only embody the Miss Black North Carolina mission statement, but shows you are committed to being an active representative for the betterment of young women and leading the way for other Black girls. Tonight, we congratulate you for continuing to showcase what it truly means to be Miss Black North Carolina. Congratulations.
First, I would like to thank you, Ms. Stewart. Thank you so much for your recognition here. Thank you for inviting me to come to address everyone in the room. I would just like to say that becoming Miss Black America North Carolina, it was like a true dream. I had struggles with my other pageantry organization, but here I feel like my light can shine way brighter. With Miss Black America, we don't strive just to be a face for the Black community, but we strive to be a strong face for everyone. And with Miss Black America, our goal is to sow the seeds of positivity to reap the flowers of success. And with me, I feel like it starts with me because I'm a young Black woman. Me being a young Black woman, I can stand for other young Black ladies, young men, just to show them that if we bind together like our ancestors did, we can achieve so much. And if it starts with me and I can make a movement, I know I can change the world some way, somehow. So it was 1972, the last Miss Black America North Carolina, and I am the youngest. I am 21, will be 22 in February, and it's an honor, really. I'm just ready to go and showcase myself at nationals and let the world love me.
Oh, you're the one with the picture there.
I guess. Come on.
She's so pretty. And
Pretty cute,
I'm handsome, man. Thank you.
3, 2, 1. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I do have something for you guys.
Oh, wait a minute. She got some for us.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, you are virginette. You a nice queen.
That's why she's queen. She know how to do this. Whoa.
Thank you very
I'm
much.
talking about. Let's tell that Miles.
Thank you. They calling me. Congratulations.
Hey, thank you.
That was very Glenn.
You're very good.
You can watch it.
That was very good.
We are so proud of you. Thank you so very much for representing us. I know you represent us well. If you would do this, do me one.
I'm gonna get into that bad boy.
If you do me one favor and you can introduce your mom. She came here. She's been supportive. And look, I got 5 children, and the father. So I know who's been running behind at these pageants and doing all of this. All y'all stand up that's with her so y'all can all be recognized if you call their names out, because I know this is a family affair.
So, first, the woman that gave birth to me, my mother, Janetta Zinzo, my momager, as I call her. She runs around with me around Fayetteville, whole North Carolina, really. She's traveled with me everywhere, as well as my family, my dad, Timothy Zinzo, my sister, Akaya Zinzo, my brother, Jaquan Zinzo, and my other little sister, Ariana Zinzo. Together, they have made me a powerhouse that I am today. Without them, I wouldn't be who I am, especially my parents.
It's all about family. Thank you. Would represent us well.
And you know what? We were out at a parade. I forget what parade it was. We were at, and the father, so proud, talking about this baby and crying at the same time.
I tell you, at this pageant, I'm going to have to bring a pool and tissues. so I don't slip on stage.
All right, that's the support that you get. And know that we're right with you as you go forward on your journey.
Along with your church family at Simon Temple.
All right.
Dr.
Thank you.
Tiller, if you're watching, I love you. But thank you again so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Greatly.
All righty. Thank you, Commissioner Stewart.
Thank you.
All righty. That now takes us to item of business, which is the very first one, is the consideration of request for proposal for the Cumberland County Multipurpose Event Center. Call on the manager.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, this was an item that was discussed and presented at the agenda session last Thursday. This evening, Mr. Jermaine Walker, the Director of Engineering and Infrastructure, is going to give a brief summary of this item.
Good evening. Good evening, Commissioners.
Thank you. I was over here.
This process started on November 5th, 2021, when the staff solicited a request for proposal for the Cumberland County Multipurpose Event Center. It closed on December 3rd, 2021. We received 3 high-quality responses from MVP Carolinas, Legends Project Management, and Violet Crown Management, LLC. MVP Carolinas is out of Raleigh, North Carolina, with Legends Project Management and Violet Crown Management coming out of Texas. We established an internal selection committee comprised of members from county management, engineering, and finance. We also had participation from industry experts, Mr. Trent Merritt, Mr. Seth Banault, who provided technical expertise and advice in a consulting capacity. This progressed through 3 iterations of the analysis of the submittal through 2 interviews, 1 in-person interview, and 1 follow-up virtual interview. January 5th, the committee convened and further evaluated the final 2 firms, MVP Carolinas and Legends Project Management, with MVP Carolinas receiving a score of 407 out of a possible 500 points, and Legends receiving a score of 371 out of a possible 500 points. Finally, staff is requesting that the Board of Commissioners accept MVP Carolinas as the owner's representative for the Cumberland County Multi-Purpose Event Center, and that the board will authorize the committee to negotiate a contract, and once it receives legal approval, the contract will be presented to the Board of Commissioners for review and final approval.
Are there any questions or comments? Commissioner Booth?
Yeah, where did the forms for the contract come from?
The forms for the contract?
Yes.
The contract that we're working on came from the vendor. We consulted with our legal department, and they said that the contract that the vendor is most comfortable with, and then that the county would evaluate it for the exclusions for the contract language that the county looks for.
Okay, how many exclusions or changes to the contract they wanted us to sign as the paying party did we change? How many? Nothing?
We haven't reviewed the contract yet, sir.
Okay.
Actually, Commissioner Booth, I think, and I think when he says authorize the committee, that's that multipurpose committee. I think you want,
Nope.
Oh, Mr. Keith is on that.
Yep.
And somebody else is on that. I think you want 3 other commissioners on that committee to review it.
Okay.
That's the committee. So he didn't say it, but that's the committee. It's the one for the multipurpose.
Well, that's it. My only concern is everybody gets caught up in this, since I haven't done a performing arts center before. I don't think you have. I don't think Rick has. It's just real easy to just take the people that have done it at least a little few more times than you have to go, this is the way we do it. And we go, okay, well then we're on board and sign it. You ought to look around and get some examples of consensus contracts. And then it'll probably roll even better.
You know that Mr. Keith will have all his questions. I'll entertain a motion.
Second.
All right, you've heard the motion. All of those in favor?
Voting in favor, Commissioners Lancaster, Council Stewart, Chairman Adams, Commissioner Evans, and Commissioner Keefe. Voting in opposition, Commissioner Booth.
Thank you. That motion carries. The consideration of a formal bid award for the Judge E. Morris Braswell Courthouse and the Department of Social Services roof replacement. County Manager.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, this item was also discussed at the agenda session last week. Mr. Walker is going to provide a brief summary of this item.
Thank you, Madam Manager. So these two projects were separate FY22 CIP projects, capital improvement projects that we combined into one contract to give the county leverage in obtaining the best possible price in this very turbulent construction market. The lowest responsive and qualified bid was from Owens Roofing Company at $1.7 million. That fits within the budget that we had budgeted for the two projects in the FY22 CIP program. And so what staff is requesting is that the Board of Commissioners award the bid for the Department of Social Services and Judge E. Maurice Braswell Courthouse roof replacement to Owens Roofing, and authorize the county manager to approve any change orders associated with this project.
Is there any questions? Commissioner Booth?
Oh, I have a motion.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
any questions or comments? Then I'll entertain a motion. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Sheriff. I move that we approve the bid to Owens for the roofs at Judge E. Maurice Braswell Courthouse and Department of Social Services as presented. Second.
Okay, it's been moved in second, but I guess any change orders, you're not including that in your motion.
I just says consideration of the formal bid award for Judge Rod. I just read what was on here.
Yeah, and then it says authorize the county manager to approve any change orders
Okay.
on the computer.
Oh,
I just wanted to make-
as he finished, yes.
Yes.
That's part of the
Okay,
motion.
so that's the complete motion. All those in favor?
That is unanimous.
You get your work
Thank
out
you.
tonight. We got our money's worth out of you tonight, huh? There you go. Thank you so very much. That takes us to the consideration of amendment to the contract with Innovative Emergency Management and Associated Budget Ordinance Amendment 220109. County Manager.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This item was also presented last week at the agenda session. This deals with the emergency rental assistance funding. The county received additional funding, and we are asking for an amendment to the contract. Mr. Jackson is going to present the details of this item.
Good evening. As County Manager indicated, the county has received, or in the process of receiving, the remainder of the Emergency Rental Assistance Program funding from the federal government, and in the amount of $1,773,457.20. Included with this memo is an proposed amendment to the contract with Innovative Emergency Management, the company that has been providing the administration of the emergency rental assistance program here locally. This would allow them to finish out a certain number of applications that are still in the pipeline. As we discussed previously, there are still a number of applications awaiting review and funding that will require additional funding, which we have been told will be forthcoming from the state eventually. So we are working on that process in terms of getting that additional funding from the state, but it's not here yet. So what is being requested is the following. That the board accept the funds from the U.S. Treasury for remainder of the rental assistance program funding in the amount of $1,773,457.20. Approve the associated budget amendment B220109, and then authorize the county manager to sign the amended agreement. And be glad to answer questions. Also have Dee Taylor joining us tonight, our Community Development Director. if there's questions for her.
Commissioner Keefe.
Thank you. Mr. Jackson, has the text on this changed because it says under the amended contract, IEM would be paid a fee for its administrative and/or housing stability in the amount not to exceed 25% of the second allocation, of which no more than 15%. That's a change from what we saw in the agenda session meeting, correct?
This
Because there was a
should be the-
10%.
This should be
and
the same.
It was 15.
it was 15, but the stability, I believe that they talked about 10% on the stability and 15%. It was specifically said no more than 15%. Is it the exact same text that was on the agenda session?
Yes.
It is. Okay, I'll go back and look at it. Mr. Chair, I've been very clear on this all the time. I think the emergency rental program is good, but I'll stand by that. I believe that 25% of $1.7 million, which is $450,000 going to administration of this program, is not in the best interest and not good stewardship of this money, because that's $450,000 that could possibly help a lot of people in their rent. Originally, the first contract was 8%, and now we've gone up to 25% on this coming out of that 1.7 million. So I will not be supporting this just based upon the administrative fees.
Well, Commissioner Evans?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that is quite a bit of money, but my concern is, as well, is making sure that the individuals that are supposed to get these funds in a time time is important. And there has been a number of individuals that have not received the funding. And I know I'm repeating myself from the last time that we spoke, but I just want to say again how urgent it is that we get this funding whenever we get it and get it into the hands of the individuals that need it. And so how long does this rental assistance program last?
To the money go.
To the money.
To the money go.
To the money go.
money
And it's
go.
already gone, because it's already been allocated.
How long does money last?
With the federal dollars, we anticipate spending that within the next, if this goes through, definitely within the next month. But we have the contract with the federal contract, it will end by September of this year.
Can I ask a question? This is, and just because it says not to exceed 25%. So, and I heard Commissioner Keefe with 8% in the first one, but it looks like it's just 15%, up to 15%, no more than 15% for the administrative costs. And that other 10% is for the housing stability. Is that?
That's correct.
Is that the way I
For
read it?
housing stability, and for the 10% is for the housing stability, no more than 15% for admin costs.
Okay, all right. So it's not necessarily 25% for the administrative cost. So I guess it wouldn't be 450.
It's 25% out of the total amount, though, sir. It is 25%.
But it's going to housing stability. I guess my question is
Housing stability would
is
be
that-
considered like case management,
Okay.
which is
Oh,
mostly,
okay.
yes.
I got you. Thank you. All right, I would entertain a motion. Oh,
Let's do that one.
thank you. Commissioner Booth.
Thank you, sir.
That's why I got a good vice chairwoman over here.
She had her eye on it.
She
Thank you.
did, thank you. I can't see.
I find myself between Commissioner Evans and Commissioner Keefe, and
Literally.
A rock and a hard place.
literally. But I think that both of them have the same concern. Mr. Keefe is that it's a lot of money no matter what happens, and Mr. Evans is concerned that it's a lot of money that's not going to go to people who we already have issues, that are not getting the money fast enough, and you're saying this is all going to be gone in a month. So if we weren't happy with the way it was done up to this point, we're giving them at least a double from 8% to the 15. But wasn't the 8%, didn't that also cover stability last time?
It did, the 8%
So it is 2 times.
included stability.
Right, so they got, including the stability, 8%, and now they're trying to get, or will get 25%.
Correct.
They're just trying to
correct.
label it differently so it doesn't look like it's
They
all.
had to increase their staff level once the moratorium was lifted. Then we have influx
Well,
of
that-
applications, so they had to increase their staff level after that.
Okay, well, that's right, and again, I said this at the meeting, I know you're doing the best you can with federal things, and you run around going like, where'd that extra arm come from? But, and I appreciate everything you're doing, but it just seems to me that taking out 25%, when it used to be 8%, is triple what we paid before. Wherever it goes, it only came out 8%, including stability last time. Now it's 25, and it's a whole lot less money, so it might be gone in a week. So I don't see how that's going to get Charles's people any more money, because who's going to identify Charles's folks? The ones that we aren't hearing about. So I don't triple someone's wages when I'm not real thrilled with what they did last time.
Any other questions? If not, entertain a motion. Commissioner Council.
I move that we approve the amendment to the contract with Innovative Emergency Management and the associated budget ordinance amendment 220109,
And authorize the county manager to sign the amended agreement.
and give them the money so people can start getting the money.
And authorize her to sign the agreement. Yes.
All of that.
Okay.
I'm
You
trying
heard
to
the motion?
listen. I don't have but one ear that works.
I
I'm
got you.
sorry, I can't hear.
That math does it to you every time. All of those in favor? Did you get the motion?
Second to the motion?
Oh, I'm sorry. I done voted on the motion. I get a second. Can I get a second? That's Commissioner
Thank you.
Lancaster.
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Voting in favor, Commissioners Lancaster, Council, Stewart, Chairman Adams. Voting in opposition, Commissioner Evans, Booth, and Keefe. Thank you.
All right. That takes us to our
Mr. Chairman,
nomination. Yes.
I suggest that for everything coming up, I don't know whether we can appoint somebody to look at the management costs or not. But if we had not approved this, all of those people who are in the pipeline to get money would not receive any of it. Now, you know how I feel about it, so I'm not going to fuss.
Well, thank you. That takes us to the nominations.
No.
Oh, that's the Adams.
Oh, because you didn't change it. And I
Commissioner Evans.
And I understand what Commissioner Council is saying, but I don't think that we would be that hearted not to make sure that everyone that's in the pipeline get the funding if we have it. What the argument is that the monies that we're talking about getting, the further monies, if I'm correct, or if I'm not correct, please tell me, so I shut up. But what I'm thinking is that the further monies that we're talking about getting, we want to make sure that they are given to the individuals in a timely manner, in which was not done with this case, with this last contract that we had with the people that we're dealing with now. Am I correct?
It's what we're doing is this is the 1.7 million that didn't get drawn down at the same time. There was some issue. There was a backlog and issues as to the timeliness of it. And I think that's why I think Ms. Taylor was saying they hired additional people to be able to try to speed that up. And all that money is gone, is in the pipeline. This is additional money we just pulled out. However, there is another 17 million that is with the state of North Carolina. That's a different set of money.
Okay.
There's another 17 million that will be coming from the state of North Carolina that will go through this process and not necessarily use these folks to be able to do that. So.
Sure, if we are talking about this, and I know the vote has been taken.
Yes.
But I would like, and we all agree that we want this money to come in. My thing is, these applications are already in, right?
On this 1.7, yes.
On this 1.7, they're already in, and 1.7 is not going to go very far, so a lot of those applications have already been reviewed. And now we're going to pay $450,000. I appreciate the vote. Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you,
Chairman.
Mr. Keefe. That takes us to the nominations, and I'll go to the Vice Chairwoman, Ms. Stewart. No, she corrected me when I said chairman, so I'll make sure.
Our nominations for our Home and Community Care Block Grant Committee, there are 5 vacancies. The recommendation received to nominate Dolores D. Boyer, Rebecca Becky Rebecca, Kevin Walker, Deborah Kinney, and Felicia Johnson.
Does anybody else have any nominations? If not, that will take us to the Mid-Carolina Aging Advisory Council. Vice Chairwoman Stewart.
There is one vacancy. The recommendation received to nominate Jackie Warner in the elected official category.
Are there any other nominations? If not, that will take us to the appointments, the Civic Center Commission, Vice Chairwoman Stewart.
Motion to appoint the following nominees: Mark Yarborough, Charles Granis, Dr. Vicki Andrews, Greg Edge, and Joseph Quitt IV.
Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and second. All those in favor?
That is unanimous.
All righty. Madam Manager, there is no closed session?
No, sir.
Well, if that, no, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
Is there a second? Second. All those in favor?
Unanimous.
Thank you. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.